G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the sewing tutorial for my smoking hot sriracha dress. You can do this with any oversized t-shirt, you just need a machine that can do a zigzag stitch and an overlocker. Or an overlocker. I meant or an overlocker. You don't need both. One or the other will suffice. You can have both. I'm not stopping you. It's your life. Do what you will. I got this sriracha shirt for free at my retail job because the print was a little bit damaged on the bottom. I think it suits me perfectly because I'm hot stuff. So first thing you're going to want to do is horrify your Dutch roommate by telling her you are about to butcher a perfectly good shirt. Then make her feel better by doing skincare with her and watching The Crown together. While you're watching The Crown, there is no need to unpick the tape that covers the shoulder seam because you won't need it for later in the project. You might use it if you're going to do something with the scraps of this project, but you won't need it for this dress. If you're a hoarder like me, you'll stash it in your sewing box for later and then forget that it exists. Next, you're going to want to lay the shirt against your body and figure out where you want to drop the neckline to. You can kind of just hold it with your finger there and measure the distance from where you want the neckline to be to your bust line. For those of you who are new to sewing, you can find your bust line by playing connect the dots with your nipples. In other words, it's the horizontal line around your body where the widest part of your coconuts are. Next, you want to lay the shirt down on a table and fold it in half, making sure the front of the shirt is on the outside of the fold so you can see the front of the neckline. Pin it in place so it doesn't move. Then on the centerfold line, which is the crease where it's been folded over, measure down along the centerfold from the front neckline and mark the measurement you took earlier where you measured from the neckline to your bust line. I used a pin to mark it. You can label that point A if you want to. I didn't label any of mine. I'm only labeling it for you for the sake of this tutorial. You can label it point sigma if you want. Then I recommend you measure the circumference of your bust. Divide that measurement by 4. Now use that number to draw a horizontal line at a rightish angle from the centerfold coming out from point A. You don't need to use a protractor to do this unless you're a nerd who still has their high school geometry kit. You can just eyeball it, it's fine. I literally just used the edge of my tailor's tape. Mark that as point B. That's B for Bucharest, the capital of Romania. Then take your tailor's tape and measure the vertical distance between your bust line and your waistline. Your waistline is the smallest horizontal area between your bust and your BBL. Take this measurement and measure down the centerfold from point A. Mark this point as C. Then take your waist measurement, divide it by 4, and measure that distance out horizontally from C. You can call this point D. Just repeat that same process for your hip measurement as well. You're smart. I don't feel like I need to tell you how to do it a third time. If you're not smart and you want me to spoon feed you, please give me angry feedback in the comment section below. You should probably also mark where your armpit is going to sit. The shoulder seam of the original shirt is going to sit in your pungy, sweaty armpit caves. So just take the circumference of the armpit lines on your body and quarter it, then mark it kind of sort of above point B. Now you're going to mark 1/2 centimeter horizontally out from point B, D, and whatever you decided to call your hip marking. This is gonna be your seam allowance. I did this with an overlocker, so my seam allowance had to be 1/2 centimeter. You can do it differently if you want to use a zigzag stitch or one of those fancy machines, which I don't know the name of, which does like elastic fabric. It's like an overlocker without the cutty knife bit. You're not supposed to use a normal straight stitch on stretch fabric because the stitch has no stretch. And it will probably snap when the fabric stretches because it's being yanked apart in opposite directions. If you try a straight stitch with a stretch thread, you'll inadvertently ruche it. But don't let me tell you what to do. You're a strong, independent dinosaur. You go out there, ruffle some feathers, do what you want to do. Now it's time to connect the dots between the lines I just ordered you to draw. Grab a ruler or anything relatively straight and join the hip, waist, bust, and armpit points with the added seam allowance. Also draw a line connecting the hip point to your hem. Now cut along the line that you just drew. You might find yourself asking, why? Why, Sanana? Why should I cut along that line? Because I said so, Deirdre. Shut up and do it. This is probably a good time to cut along the shoulder seam of the original shirt. I did this before I folded the t-shirt in half, but you can do it now. It doesn't really matter. Now it's time to sew or overlock the front and back together, right sides together. Next, do a snippy on the armholes of the original t-shirt to get your shoulder straps. I liked the stitching along the edge, so I made it visible when I sewed on the straps. You don't really have to worry about fraying with this fabric because t-shirt fabric does not fray. So you can leave the edges of the shoulder straps and the underarms raw. The last step is to sew your straps onto the neckline. You should start by sewing them on the back of the dress first. I did this by hand, but I did a zigzag stitch nonetheless. There is no particular method to the stitch that I used. I just did a running stitch and tried to make it look like a zigzag. Then try the dress on, take a moment to appreciate how fine you look before bringing the loose ends of the straps to the front while standing in front of a mirror. Now you can use your eyeballs to figure out how long you would like the straps to be. Mark the length with a pin, cut the straps to size, and sew them on the front. And there you have it, a smoking hot dress upcycled from your boyfriend's closet. You'll know you did a good job if you're followed by the sounds of "hi hi" when you wear it, accompanied by an emu hunt for your shuttum. If you hear the phrase "Loki kikena," please know that I am proud of you.